சேரா ஹோம் ஜங்ஷன், சுந்தராபுரம், கோயம்புத்தூர்.
சேர்ந்து வாங்க, சேராவுக்கு வாங்க.
தமிழகம் எங்கும் கிளைகள் கொண்ட அண்ணமால் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஆஃப் ஹோட்டல் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் அண்ட் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் படிப்பில் சேர்வதற்கான அட்மிஷன் நடைபெறுகிறது.
மென்டல் ஹெல்த் இல்னஸ், மென்டல் ஹெல்த் டிஸார்டர்ஸ், இந்த டேர்ம்ஸ் எல்லாம் எல்லாருமே பேசுறாங்க. அதோட மீனிங் எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியுதான்னு எனக்கு தெரியல.
A lot of people talk about going to gym after a breakup, right? Does that really solve the underlying issue? Like when you step into another relationship, have you healed from the breakup pain that you've gone through? Would you not have a trust issue with another person? இதெல்லாம் ஒர்க் பண்ணாமல் நம்ம வெறும் பிரேக்கப் ஆச்சுன்னா ஜிம்முக்கு போங்க இல்லை, இந்த மாதிரி கான்செப்ட்ஸ் ஆர் வெரி மிஸ்லீடிங். ஒன் குட் திங் அபவுட் கோவிட் இஸ் we've started talking about all of this at least more openly. பட் நம்ம தாத்தா பாட்டி ஜென்ரேஷன்ஸில் இல்லையா, இல்லை நம்ம அம்மா ஜென்ரேஷன் இல்லையானா எல்லாருக்கும் இருந்திருக்கு. But our lifestyle has also changed so much over time. தாத்தா பாட்டி காலத்துலலாம் we didn't talk about depression. இப்போயே இதை பற்றி பேசுகிறீங்க, it's too western, it's too modern. No. It's not the case that there's so much of drastic change that has happened like over the years. It's become like a fashion statement today, right? இன்னைக்கு CSK மேட்ச்ல தோத்துட்டாங்க அப்படின்னா நான் டிப்ரெஸ்டாக இருக்கேன், நான் போய் ஒரு பியர் குடிக்க போகிறேன், இல்லை நான் டிப்ரெஸ்டாக இருக்கேன், இதாச்சு அதாச்சு. Nice that people feel open to use these words, but for someone who's going through the actual experience of depression and anxiety, it's very triggering. Because unfortunately movies, when they talk about mental health, it's always a funny angle, right? With a lot of other awareness that we have when it comes to physical health, I think mental health was something that was definitely not spoken about.
The Love Hope Company. Tell me, how did you actually coin this basic term of the Love Hope Company?
It was very simple. As in, I was just trying to understand what are the things that make people happy, or what are the things are we looking for in life, right? Especially when we want to cater to clients who are going through a tough phase or who want to work on themselves to get better. I think having love and having hope is extremely important in life. Love, not just like love from other people, but to also fall in love with yourself. Because unfortunately, we were raised in a generation where we were constantly told that you're not enough, or you have to always be overachievers to be like accepted by the families or societies, right? So somehow we are raised in a generation of not feeling so much loved, right? And we always long for that outside, but it all starts within. And while we are in that journey, or while we are facing something in life, when you're going through the extreme lows, I think the only thing that keeps you going is to have hope on something or the other, but something should hold you on to make you feel that this is going to get better. So we wanted to be an organization where we could give that love and hope to people, and that's how the Love Hope Company was coined.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm sure you're here to give us a lot of love and hope.
Always.
You've worked extensively in the space of mental health in the country and offshore. Tell me, what do you exactly do at the Love Hope Company? And you also have ITA
Yes.
under Love Hope Company. Tell me about that as well.
So this comes from a very personal space where when I was going through depression and anxiety myself, I didn't have a place to go to, or nor did I have any understanding about mental health at all. Like having education in good schools and good colleges, I think mental health was not a term that was even heard or spoken about at all, right? So when I was going through this, first to even understand what it is was very difficult, because when you have a headache, when you have a stomach pain, you're able to know what it is, you know what kind of doctors you have to go approach, the kind of medications that you could take, maybe home remedies or otherwise. But when it comes to emotions, it's just like few feelings that you have which you can't name. You don't know if it's fine, if it's not okay, if it's a problem that you have. It's very difficult to even first understand that for yourself. And then to even understand where do I go, like whom do I talk to, was very difficult, right? So these are the areas that I wanted to focus on first. Because there are enough professionals in our country who are doing whatever they're doing and they're best at it, which is why I was very specific about not studying psychology and becoming a therapist and helping people. I was more focused on bringing in the right kind of people, giving them a space so that they could feel heard, they could be seen, they could feel understood, they could just be themselves without any judgments, right? So that was how Love Hope was started. And with a lot of other awareness that we have when it comes to physical health, I think mental health was something that was definitely not spoken about. So I wanted to focus on that area. And we always hear like few terms like breaking stigma and breaking the taboo. I just want to take it one step further and actually do it and set up a space like this where I wanted every person who comes inside the space feel empowered. I didn't want them to feel shy to go tell someone that they're taking therapy, especially at Love Hope. So the moment they come in, whether it's online or offline, we want to make people feel empowered because they're working on themselves. They're getting better in a way. They're doing good for themselves, which is going to also impact the lives around them. So I think that is huge, and I don't look at it as a weakness, and I don't understand why people look at it as a weakness. So that is where the core of Love Hope stands, and that is how each services was built. So as a mental health organization, we do therapy for individuals, couples, children, families. But it's very different at Love Hope because the kind of professionals we work with are not just experienced in what they do, but they carry the same values that we have, right? Because that is more important than just the education that they have. So we have a hiring process where we make sure that is aligned. And we get like real-time feedback from the client and the therapist as well. And we're building an ecosystem where both clients and therapists' experiences are good. So it's not just one way of it, because I believe it's our duty to build in a very healthy ecosystem as well when it comes to mental health care, because it's a very unorganized sector in our country. So we focus more on details like this because we never know what are the smallest thing that could impact someone's life, and we never know the kind of impact that we could do with the smallest thing that we do. So giving more attention to the details on understanding people is primarily my role at Love Hope, and that is what we as a team are also trying to build, and just spreading more love, hope and kindness, which has become a luxury unfortunately today.
நீங்க சொன்னீங்க இந்த ஸ்பேஸ் உள்ள ஸ்டெப் ஆன உடனே எல்லாருமே எம்பவர்டாக ஃபீல் ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு. ஐ ஹாவ் டு சே தட் யூ ஹாவ் அ பியூட்டிஃபுல் ஸ்பேஸ். எங்கள் அம்மா ஆகட்டும் நான் ஆகட்டும் 2 பேருமே வந்து அவ்வளோ எம்பவர்டாக ஃபீல் ஆனோம் உள்ள ஸ்டெப் ஆன உடனே. ஸோ யோர் எய்ம், யோர் கோல் இஸ் ஃபுல்ஃபில்ட். ஐ மஸ்ட் டெல் யூ, அண்ட் கங்க்ராச்சுலேஷன்ஸ் ஆன் தட். ஐம் ஷூர் இட்ஸ் த சேம் ஃபார் எவ்ரி ஒன், த டீம், த என்டையர் டீம். ஆனால் இப்போ என்னன்னா மென்டல் ஹெல்த் இல்னஸ், மென்டல் ஹெல்த் டிஸார்டர்ஸ், இந்த டேர்ம்ஸ் எல்லாம் எல்லாருமே வந்து பேசுகிறாங்க. ஆனால் அதோட அர்த்தம், அதோட மீனிங் எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியுதான்னு எனக்கு தெரியல. ஸோ லெட்ஸ் இன்வால்வ் எவ்ரி ஒன் இன் திஸ் கான்வர்சேஷன் பிகாஸ் தட் இஸ் த கோல் ஆஃப் திஸ் பர்டிகுலர் கான்வர்சேஷன். What exactly is mental health?
Bodyல வந்து நம்மளுக்கு ஒரு சில reactions வரும்ல. Like when you feel anxious, for few people you can't breathe, or you will have like headaches. So these are all your physical outcomes of your body reaction. But most of the time there is some emotions that would trigger this. நம்ம எவ்வளோக்கு எவ்வளோ அதை அன்அட்ரஸ்டாக எடுத்துகிட்டு போகிறோமோ, மேபி யூ மைட் ஹாவ் சம் இஷ்யூஸ் வித் யுவர் பேரண்ட்ஸ் வென் யூ ஆர் க்ரோயிங் அப், பட் தட் குட் ரிஃப்ளெக்ட் ஆன் அ ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் தட் யூ ஹாவ் லேட்டர் இன் யுவர் லைஃப் வித் யுவர் பார்ட்னர். அண்ட் அப்போ உங்களுக்கு வந்து ஃபிசிக்கலி அது ட்ரிகர் ஆகும். பட் தென் இஃப் யூ நேரோ இட் டவுன் டு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட் வை am I feeling this way, வை எங்கே ஸ்டார்ட் ஆயிருக்குன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, இட் குட் பி ஆஃப் சம்திங் யூவ் கான் த்ரூ இன் யுவர் சைல்ட்ஹுட், ரைட்? ஸோ எமோஷன்ஸ்க்கும் நம்மளோட ஃபீலிங்ஸ்க்கும் நம்ம வேல்யூ கொடுத்து diving more deeply inside is what mental health is all about what your mind thinks, what you think as a person, and not just what you feel physically. அதே மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, there's emotional health, there's spiritual health, there is financial health also for the matter. So இது எல்லாமே equal portionsல இருந்தால் மட்டும்தான் you would feel healthy. If you just focus on like a lot of people talk about going to gym after a breakup, right? Yes, your body might become good because you are taking out the hurt and everything outside, but then does that really solve the underlying issue? Like when you step into another relationship, have you healed from the breakup pain that you've gone through? Would you not have a trust issue with another person? இதெல்லாம் ஒர்க் பண்ணாமல் நம்ம வெறும் பிரேக்கப் ஆச்சுன்னா ஜிம்முக்கு போங்க இல்லை, இந்த மாதிரி கான்செப்ட்ஸ் ஆர் வெரி மிஸ்லீடிங். That is not a holistic solution. It's not fair for you and for the partner that you're choosing, right? So conversations about all of this, I think one good thing about COVID is we've started talking about all of this at least more openly. But நம்ம தாத்தா பாட்டி ஜென்ரேஷன்ஸ்ல இல்லையா, இல்லை நம்ம அம்மா ஜென்ரேஷன் இல்லையானா எல்லாருக்கும் இருந்திருக்கு. But our lifestyle has also changed so much over time, right? We're not as physically active as we used to be. Our eating habits, our work life that we have, the timings that we sleep, the kind of food that we eat, it ellame impacts your health, including your mental health. So நம்ம இது எல்லாமே மாத்திட்டு சடனா when we say தாத்தா பாட்டி காலத்துலலாம் we didn't talk about depression, இப்போ இதை பற்றி பேசுறீங்க, it's too western, it's too modern. No, it's not the case. That there's so much of drastic change that has happened like over the years, and அதோட impact ரொம்ப ஓப்பனா இருக்கும்போது we need different modalities of support, of which therapy is one way of doing it, and more convenient to do in a city life, right? நம்ம நினைச்ச நேரத்துக்கு we can't go trek in a mountain, we can't go connect with nature, right? And இப்போ இருக்கிற ஃபேமிலி சிஸ்டம்ஸ்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா முன்னாடி மாதிரி ஜாயின்ட் ஃபேமிலி கிடையாது. முன்னாடிலாம் when women want to rant or when they want to talk about their problems, they had people in the family, or a mother-in-law or sister-in-law or sisters or neighbors, or like there was a group of people that they could talk to. And all that is cut off, right? So that is why we create an offering called as support groups, where people going through similar experiences come together and share and talk about it. So ippo support group yen tata padi time la illa appadina, it was there, but it was not called support group, but you had a strong support system. Now ippo irukra timing kadilla, so we are doing this. And the mother therapy, everything about mental health is highlighted because we're more open about it. We're more open about talking our problems and looking out for support. So I think that is the change that has happened. But I think one negative side of it is it's become like ஒரு ஃபேஷன் ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் டுடே, ரைட்? இன்னைக்கு வந்து சிஎஸ்கே வந்து மேட்ச்ல தோத்துட்டாங்க அப்படின்னா நான் டிப்ரெஸ்டாக இருக்கேன், நான் போய் ஒரு பியர் குடிக்க போகிறேன், இல்லை நான் டிப்ரெஸ்டாக இருக்கேன், இதாச்சு அதாச்சு. Or if I want to keep my room clean, it doesn't mean I have OCD. It's just that I want to keep my room clean. So you don't have to say I have OCD issue. அந்த மாதிரி சின்ன சின்ன இடத்துல வந்து அதே மாதிரி if something goes off, ஐயோ இது நடந்தால் எனக்கு ரொம்ப ஆன்சைட்டி வந்துடும் அப்படின்றதெல்லாம் வந்துட்டு these are all serious terms, right? It can't just be thrown away. In a way, it's nice that people feel open to use these words, but for someone who's going through the actual experience of depression and anxiety, it's very triggering. So I would say when people talk about it in movies or social media or on public platforms, it's very important to be mindful of the words that you talk, because நம்ம ஒருத்தவங்க பேசுகிற விஷயம் வந்து அது எத்தனை பேருக்கு அதோட ஃபேன்சி ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்டாவோ இல்லை கஷ்டப்படுறவங்களுக்கு அது ட்ரிகரிங் பாயிண்ட்டாக இருக்கும்ன்றது தெரியாது. Because unfortunately movies, when they talk about mental health, it's always a funny angle, right? ஒரு சைக்காட்ரிஸ்ட்டை காட்டுவாங்க, அவங்க ஒரு ஹியூமர் ஆங்கிளில் காட்டுவாங்க. இப்போ என்னாச்சுன்னா மென்டல் ஹெல்த்தில் ப்ளேஸ் பண்ணுறாங்க because it's very common, that's how they connect to people, but then they don't show it in the right way. So I think it has its own pros and cons, but I think talking more about it, voicing out more about it is very important at this point of time.
நீங்கள் சொன்ன மாதிரி தான் இந்த COVID-19க்கு அப்புறமா நான் சும்மா ரேண்டமாக கூகுள் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தேன், and I figured that 3 very commonly used words due to the aftermath of COVID-19 is depression, stress and anxiety.
Okay.
டிப்ரெஷன் என்னன்னே தெரியாமல் நான் டிப்ரெஸ்டாக இருக்கேன், ஐம் கோயிங் த்ரூ திஸ் டிப்ரெஷன் அப்படின்னு நிறைய பேர் சொல்கிறாங்க. ஆன்சைட்டிக்கும் ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ஸுக்கும் டிஃப்ரென்ஸே தெரியாமல் ஐ எம் ஃபீலிங் வெரி ஆன்ஷியஸ் டூட், ஐ எம் வெரி ஸ்ட்ரெஸ்ட் டூட். இட்ஸ் அ வெரி commonly thrown off terms, So can you actually clarify what exactly anxiousness means or being anxious means, anxiety means, and what stress means? அதுக்கப்புறமா what depression meansல நம்ம போலாம்.
எனக்கு வந்து என்னோட தெரபிஸ்ட் கிட்ட நான் அந்த கான்வர்சேஷன் வச்சேன், பிகாஸ் there was a point where I got really triggered when people just like throw it away, and என்னோட ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் சர்க்கிளே when people use it, I stop them and I correct them, and they're like, oh நீ love for பூஜாவா இப்போ பேசாத அப்படின்ற மாதிரி. they like, when I correct them, they take it in you talk about it அப்படின்னா. So what my therapist told me was anxiety is an illness, right? And feeling anxious is normal. As humans, we all feel anxious at some point of time. Say if you're not a public speaker, ஆனா நீங்க வந்து ஸ்கூல்ல ஒரு ஸ்டேஜ்ல போய் பேசணும்னா அந்த படபடன்னு ஒரு ஃபீலிங் இருக்கும். That doesn't mean you have anxiety. Like, and I am someone who goes through anxiety, right? So when people say ஒரு சின்ன விஷயத்தை பண்ணிட்டு எனக்கு anxiety இருக்குன்னா, I immediately ask them, oh, do you have an anxiety? என்னெல்லாம் பண்ணுறீங்க? How do you feel? And then பார்த்தா ஏதாவது ஒரு சிம்பிளாக ஒரு விஷயம் நடந்திருக்கும், அதுக்கு வந்து ஐயோ எனக்கு இப்படிலாம் அந்த ஆன்சைட்டின்னு சொல்லும் போது அந்த குட்டியாக ஒரு ஸ்பார்க் ஆஃப் தட்ஸ் நாட் வாட் ஆன்சைட்டி இஸ் அபவுட்னு தோணும். ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் அகெயின் இப்போ நம்மளுக்கு வந்து you might feel stressful about something that happened today. That doesn't mean you're always stressed, right? So again, I had an experience where I used to have a pain in my neck, but I can't even sit like this for a long time. I used to, now and ella type of doctors kitta poi paatha, ella type of scan eduthu paatha. I spent a lot to first understand what I was going through, but no one was able to tell me there might be an emotional angle to it, because at that point of time I was going through a lot in my life. எனக்கு வந்து I'm a classical dancer. Now வந்து I think after my marriage I stopped dancing and all of that, and for some reason I just decided let me do something I like, and when I started it, out of nowhere the pain went away. It didn't make sense to me at all. And few years later when I started therapy, நான் சும்மா ஒரு கான்வர்சேஷன்ல இது சொன்னேன், இந்த மாதிரி எனக்கு டான்ஸ் ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும், பண்ணும்போது the pain went. So that is a trigger of stress that I was going through, right? So stress could have so much of an impact. சில பேருக்கு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா அடிக்கடி தலைவலி வரும். It can't just be migraine, it could also be because of stress.
எனக்கு வரும்.
So it could be because of stress, which means you can get yourself like diagnosed. But unfortunately, most of doctors don't look at the emotional angle behind your physical symptoms. It could still be a migraine, or it could be an underlying issue. Like sometimes வந்து ஒரு particular spaceல போனா தலைவலி trigger ஆகும், இல்லை ஒரு particular விஷயத்தை நம்ம பிடிக்காத ஒரு வேலையை நம்ம பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம்னா நம்மளுக்கு trigger ஆகும். It could be anything, but we're so used to just looking at the outside angle of it, and we don't dive deep to understand why it is caused. So I think having that understanding is very important. Again, depression is not just a feeling, it's an illness. And depression lay, there are nariya types of depression. Like people think people who go through depression now, and they should look very sad, they should keep crying, they should not be able to eat and all of that. But there is something called as functional depression, where a person can function absolutely normally. They come to work, they're the best when they come out, they work out, they do everything. But then when they go back home, they just like quiet, they just like completely shut off. So normally நீங்க வெளில இருந்து பார்க்கும்போது you might not know that they're going through something. They might also be in medication to like just function normally in their life. So I think one reason why people don't understand this is also because it's very tricky. It's not like நம்ம ஒரு டெஸ்ட்டோ எம்ஆர்ஐயோ எடுத்து நம்ம டக்கு நோக்கி இதுதான் பிரச்சனைன்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. So there could be an underlying issue. But I think it's very, like I said, it's very, very important to be mindful, because you know what you feel, you know what you go through. So label it very properly. So, yeah.
Are there any signs, ஏதாவது வார்னிங் வந்து நம்மளோட மைண்டோ நம்மளோட பாடியோ நம்மளுக்கு காட்டுமா, that you know it's time for you to go see a specialist, a therapist? அப்படி ஏதாவது இருக்குமா?
அது கண்டிப்பா டெஃபினட்டா இருக்கும் எல்லாருக்கும். பட் நான் வந்து இன்னும் ஒரு ஸ்டெப் பின்னாடி போய் what I would tell people is don't wait for your body or your mind to give you signals in the first place. நான் ஏன் வந்து தெரப்பி ஒரு ஜென்ரல் வெல்னஸ் ஆங்கிள் பண்ணணுன்றது I keep talking is because we all keep going through something or the other. It's not, our life can never be flat. It will have highs, it will have lows. நம்ம எந்த அளவுக்கு வந்து நான் சோகமாக இருக்கும்போது தெரப்பி போய் யூஸ் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறோமோ, அதே மாதிரி when you're in peak, that is also an emotion that you feel. It's important that you know how to handle that emotion as well. இது எல்லாத்துக்குமே ஏன் ஒரு தெரபிஸ்ட் கிட்ட தான் பேசணும் அப்படின்னு கேட்டால், தெரபிஸ்ட் கிட்ட தான் பேசணுன்றது கிடையாது. பட் when you talk to them, they're trained for this. You can simply Google and ask, I have a headache, what kind of medicine can I take? But why do we go to a doctor? Because they're specialized in this. They pick up signs that a Google will not know. They ask you questions that Google cannot ask. So that is very similar what a therapist does as well. நம்ம ஒன்று நினச்சிட்டு போவோம். To give you an example, we've had clients coming here saying they have anxiety issues or depression, but then it's rooted down to something much bigger that could have happened in their life, as huge as they might have gone through some abuse that is triggering what they feel today. But இது வந்து நம்மளால அது கனெக்ட் பண்ண முடியாது. We might brush away certain instances in our life. We want to just keep getting better. We want to keep moving forward in our life. So there's no one answer to this saying, hey, இது ஒரு டெஸ்ட் எடுங்க, இந்த பிளட் ரிப்போர்ட்ல உங்களுக்கு வர மாதிரி இதெல்லாம் வந்துச்சா தெரப்பி போங்கன்னு. So I would say don't wait for something bad to happen or something extreme to happen to start. This could be some modality that you could use to ஜிம்முக்கு போகிற மாதிரி. You can still keep doing this for your emotional and mental health.
How is social media impacting mental health according to you?
So there was a phase where I would have maybe told you that, you know, be mindful, ஒரு நாளைக்கு 2 மணி நேரத்துக்கு மேலே ஃபோன் யூஸ் பண்ணாதீங்க, அதுக்குன்னு டைம் வைங்க அப்படின்னு. பட் லைக் யூ செட், இன்னைக்கு மொபைல் ஃபோன்ஸ் ஒரு லேப்டாப்ஸ் ஸ்க்ரீன்ஸ் have become like a part of our body. அது ஒரு இன்னொரு ஆர்கன் மாதிரி. I can't say like cut your hand and just like walk around. The only thing we could do is இப்போ சோஷியல் மீடியாலாம் வந்து it has its own good, but then if something is not making you feel good about yourself, like இப்போ ஒரு செலிபிரிட்டியை நீங்கள் ஃபாலோ பண்ணுறீங்க, if you like their body and if you feel constantly start comparing yourself, or you follow your friend and maybe they're getting married and then you've not found a partner, அவங்க வந்து picture perfect ஃபோட்டோஸ்லாம் போடும்போது வந்து you might feel like you're missing out on a lot in life. அந்த ஃபோட்டோக்கு பின்னாடி அவங்க சண்டை போட்டிருக்கலாம், அந்த ஃபோட்டோக்கு அப்புறம் அவங்க சண்டை போட்டிருக்கலாம், ஆர் சண்டை போட்டுகிட்டே இருக்கும்போது சரி ஒரு கான்டென்ட் போடணும்னு அவங்க கான்டென்ட் கிரியேட்டராக அவங்க பண்ணியிருக்கலாம். There are so many other probabilities of why people do that, right? So having that mindfulness of what you see is not what exactly it is. It could be good, it could be bad. So இதுதான் எனக்கு வேணுன்ற comparison is not realistic ன்னு தெரிஞ்சுத்தாலே I think 90% of problems would solve, because most of the time we நம்மளோட லைஃப் எந்த லெவலில் இருக்குன்றது நம்ம மற்றவங்களை வச்சு தான் நம்ம கம்பேர் பண்ணுவோம். இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் அ ஸ்டாண்டர்ட் தட் we set for ourselves. But I think just understanding, எனக்குமே I got there because of the kind of experiences that I've seen with people around me. Fortunately, with the work that I do, people tend to open up about their personal life or what they do, although they know I'm not a therapist. அப்போதான் எனக்கு வந்து like we'll have conversation with like influencers or someone who's like very open about their personal life on social media. And I get to know the actual scene of what's happening. There might be people who are trying to make their marriages work, trying to make a relationship work, or they're not happy in a relationship that they are. And the very next day, you might see your content going out. But they do it for whatever reasons. I wouldn't even say it's right or wrong. Avangalukku that is a life that they want, or maybe that is giving them a validation that they're looking for. Edo a reason irukkum. But I would say it is not right for me to compare my life with that person. And that is what I keep telling people around me. நம்ம சும்மா கூட நம்ம சொல்லுவோம், ஹே இந்த செலிபிரிட்டி இப்படி இருக்காங்க, இந்த ஆக்ட்ரஸ் இப்படி இருக்காங்க. So one thing that I liked about Sameera Reddy also, like she spoke about or photo shoot la how she looked in the actual photo that came out and how she actually looked without all the contour or all the editing that happened. So I think having those authentic voices are also very important. Adukku na ellarum adha pannonu solla maata. Like I said, it's their own choice and there could be a different purpose of why they're doing it. But as consumers, it's important that we are be very mindful about it. And more than respecting what other people's choices are, respect what you want to become, or the life that you want to build. And the comparison vandale, it's very difficult. So it's a very illusional world that social media is giving. But it also comes with its own plus. So I can't say that, Instagram use pannadinga, Twitter use pannadinga. Means it's just about the kind of contents that you could consume. And there are a lot of good setting options that you have. Like you can restrict an account, you can kind of like, and the not interested, you can explore under the kind of content you want to consume, you can customize it. So having the knowledge about that and choosing what you want to see, what you want to consume is important. Yeah.
Are there any practices or daily habits that you think can help us stay away or set a healthy boundary in this hyper-connected world, if at all?
See, one thing that you could do is just do whatever makes you happy.
Okay.
Other one, that could be anything. Like for me, happiness could be sleeping early in the morning. Like in a காலையில தூங்கினா பிடிக்கும், எனக்கு காலை வந்து எந்திரிக்கிறது ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். But night I can stay up and do whatever I want. But the ideal word might tell you like wake up in the morning. இது right wrong தாண்டி doing what works for me. Maybe over the months I might also become a morning person. And that's something I'm really trying to, but it's very, very difficult. நான் எந்திரிச்சாலே என் brain activate ஆகிறது வந்து 10 மணிக்கு மேலே தான் இருக்கும். அதுக்கு முன்னாடி இருக்கும், it's very difficult for me to function. But if it's late in the night, I'm actually highly productive. எனக்கு எந்த வேலை கொடுத்தாலும் night is like my high energy time. So trying to fix it, but then I can't ideally come and tell you that, night முழிச்சிட்டே இருங்க, இல்லை காலையில் எந்திரிச்சு மட்டுமே இது பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்னு. So it's very subjective. But அது ப்ரெஷராக எடுக்காமல், if I want to change, I know I can change. But do I want to do it now? Why do I want to take the pressure in the money? That's just like one example. You need to be mindful about the life that you want to live, the life that you want to build, the health, the career choices that you make, any choices for that matter, relationship, friendships, varum pogum irupanga povanga, all that would happen. But then what is it that you want to build? What is it that you want? And the clarity is very important for you to make any decision. As simple as இன்னைக்கு நான் நைட் தோசை சாப்பிடணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்னா, பீஸா சாப்பிடணும்னு நினைக்கிறேன்னா, I need to have a clarity on what my cravings are, right? எனக்கு அது இல்லாமல் because you are eating தோசை பட் நான் வந்து பீஸா தான் ஆசைப்படுறேன்னு சொல்லி நான் உங்களுக்காக நான் தோசை சாப்பிட்டு how long can I sustain like that, right? It's just personal choice and it could be changing, but always be mindful of, is this what I want to do? Is this doing good for me? That choice could be anything. There is absolute no right or wrong. Because one thing that I have realized in my life is life is not always white or black. There will be gray zones, and it will take some time for us to go through that zone and figure out which side you want to take. Aduk you will make a lot of bad choices. You will also learn from it and make good choices. But உங்களோட டெசிஷனை நான் அப்படியே நான் ஃபாலோ பண்ணேன்னா என்னால் அங்கே வர முடியுமானா அப்சல்யூட்லி முடியாது. பிகாஸ் உங்களோட கெப்பாசிட்டி ஆஃப் ஹேண்ட்லிங் திங்ஸ், யோர் வே ஆஃப் டீலிங் திங்ஸ் குட் பி வெரி டிஃப்ரெண்ட் ஃப்ரம் வாட் ஐ டூ. It starts from the way I was raised, the way I look at life. So I can't generally tell you that this is right, this is wrong, just do this. Just focus on yourself. Because end of the day, யாரும் நம்ம கூட வந்து லாங் டேர்ம் இருக்கணும்னு நினைக்கிறதும் தப்பு, இருப்பாங்கன்னு நம்மளுக்கு தெரியாது. The only thing that will come with you is you, your body, your thoughts, your mind, and whatever you are building in your life. So I think just focusing on yourself would just be the best thing to do.
மென்டல் ஹெல்த் அப்படிங்கிற இந்த டேர்ம் ஆகட்டும், மென்டல் வெல்னஸ் ஆகட்டும், இதை பற்றி நிறைய பேர் பேசுகிறாங்க. ஆனால் இட் இஸ் ஸ்டில் சம்வேர் கன்சிடர்ட் டு பி taboo in the country. ஏன் இப்போவுமே அதை அப்படி பார்க்குறாங்க நீங்கள் நினைக்கிறீங்க?
ஆனஸ்டாக எனக்கு இதுக்கான ஆன்சர் தெரியல. ஏன்னா when I started therapy for myself, எனக்கு வந்து மென்டல் ஹெல்த் பற்றின எந்த ஒரு அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங்குமே, I didn't know the good or the bad side of it. ஸோ இப்போ நான் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இப்போ நான் ஒரு ஆர்ட் கிளாஸ் போயிருந்தேன், அங்கே வந்து நான் கொஞ்சம் கொஞ்சமாக கற்றுக்கிட்டேன், கொஞ்சம் ஒரு செகண்ட் லெவல் ஆஃப் ட்ராயிங் போயிருக்கேன், இல்லை பெயிண்டிங் போயிருக்கேன்னா நான் எப்படி என் ஃப்ரெண்ட்ஸ் கிட்ட சொல்வேனோ அந்த மாதிரி நான் தெரப்பி போகிறேன்றது ஒரு பாயிண்ட் ஆஃப் டைம் when I got comfortable with the concept of therapy, I started talking about it. That is when I met 2 different groups of people. ஒரு செட் எப்படின்னா வந்துட்டு உன் லைஃப்பில் உனக்கு எல்லாமே இருக்குது, you're like completely settled, you have a child, you have like you're coming from a well-to-do family, what are you complaining about, you're not just grateful about life and another set of people are going through something or the other in their life and they didn't know therapy was an option and what therapy does to them. So எனக்கு வந்து the more I started talking about it, when the more and more people judge, I used to have a conversation with them like, why do you think it's bad, ஏன் நீங்கள் வந்து இது பண்ணாதன்னு சொல்கிறீங்க, how do you think me going for therapy is me being ungrateful in life, am I not working on myself, am I not getting better as a person, how do you think it's bad? They don't have clarity, they just know therapy is bad. ஏன் அதை சொல்கிறீங்கன்னா they don't have clarity, they just tell that you're weak, ஏன் ஒன்னாலே உன் லைஃப்பை பார்த்துக்க முடியாதா, why do you need a third person, why do you want to ask someone what has to be done. In therapy, no therapist is going to go and help you make your, they're not going to make your life decisions, they're going to help you understand what kind of decisions you have to make because you start understanding about yourself. இது பண்ணாதவங்களுக்கு இதுதான் தெரப்பியில் நடக்கும்னு தெரியாது. They just think there's a third person who's going to உங்க பிரெயினை வாஷ் பண்ண போகிறாங்க, இல்லை வந்து there are people who ask like, இப்போ நான் இங்கே உட்காந்துருக்கேன் நான் என்ன நினைக்கிறேன் சொல்லு அப்படின்வாங்க. That's not how it works, and I hear that from a lot of therapists also where they think that people have asked them, இப்போ நான் என்ன யோசிக்கிறேன்னு சொல்லுங்க, நாளைக்கு நான் என்ன பண்ணணும்னு சொல்லுங்க அப்படின்னு. So it is not mind reading, it is not anything of those sorts. I think the stigma is there because people don't understand what therapy is, people don't understand what kind of a beautiful journey it is, and understanding தாண்டி இப்போ ட்ரை பண்ணவங்களுக்குமே they would have had bad experiences, maybe they didn't go to the right therapist, maybe they were not able to identify the right kind of person because like I said in therapy அவங்க ஒரு கவுன்சிலர், அவங்க ஒரு தெரப்பிஸ்ட் தாண்டி வேல்யூஸ் ஹேவ் டு மேட்ச். ஸோ அந்த வேல்யூஸ் மேட்ச் ஆகாதவங்க கிட்ட நம்ம பேசும்போது இட் பிகம் டிஃபிகல்ட். ஸோ நீங்கள் அங்கேயும் போயிட்டு யூ வில் ஹாவ் டு push yourself and try talking to them. If you have a bad experience, then you'll have to stop therapy. So when you stop therapy with a person by having a bad experience of not just understanding or connect agada abindrathu is as equal as having a breakup. You will have trust issues to get back to therapy. So adanal da we take a lot of effort on making sure our therapists and clients have the right fit. அவங்களுக்கு வந்து இந்த ஃபர்ஸ்ட் செஷன்லேயே we ask them like, if you want to change, please feel free to change, and the therapists are also understanding. It's a very normal thing. So இந்த குட்டி குட்டி டீட்டெயில்ஸுமே தெரப்பி ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணணும்னு நினைக்கிறவங்களுக்கு தெரியாது, right? So that is where we start talking about it, we spread more awareness about it, and we tell them it's very normal, it's absolutely like finding your soulmate. Because therapy in ஒரு இடத்துல என்னன்னா வந்து you're technically going to be emotionally naked to a person. You start day one, but then over time, pesa, you might have to talk about things that you never thought you would talk about. எனக்கு இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் எனக்கு இருக்க பெரிய பிரச்சனை என்னன்னா வந்து I can't put words to what exactly I feel. I can tell you a story, I can tell you இதெல்லாம் நடந்துச்சு, but how did I feel in that particular moment? I could feel it, but எனக்கு the words are சொல்லுது, it's very difficult. So I'm working now on myself to first put words to my feelings and how exactly I felt. And vulnerable irukkiradhu vandu it's very difficult for me till date. So even in spite of working on myself for years together, now I'm realizing that this is something that I need to be more attuned at. So in the mari different interesting things will come out over time where you get to know about yourself. Ivlo beautiful on a journey, ivlo beautiful on a vishyo, how could people think it's bad? How could someone say it's for weak? How could someone say if you're going for therapy, you're mentally unstable? Not at all. Like, I think this is the most bravest thing. This is the most beautiful thing that you could do for yourself. Because number better aga நம்ம சுத்தி இருக்க எல்லாருக்குமே அது impact ஆகும் in a very good way. So, and I don't understand why people look at it in a very negative sense. But that's why I said I want to make people feel empowered when they come here, because it is a beautiful journey. And it's a huge deal for someone to take this decision. ஏன்னா நம்ம எப்போவுமே ஒரு பிரச்சனை வரும்போது இட்ஸ் a very human thing to point the other person saying, இவங்க ஒழுங்கா இருந்தால் நான் ஒழுங்கா இருந்திருப்பேன், இவங்க அப்படி பண்ணல நான் அப்படி பண்ணியிருக்க மாட்டேன். We are not used to pointing at ourselves. But therapy is something that will make you do that. And it takes a lot for someone to recognize it and reach out for support. So the moment I say any person who's booking a session, who's coming here, or who's curious to know what this is about, I think they're the bravest person in the world. And if they judge, if they're being judged by someone, I think they should just like say that back, that I'm the most bravest person. I don't understand
and
why
let
you
them go.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's the perspective even someone who's being judged should have. ஏன்னா ஜட்ஜ் பண்ணும்போது அவங்களுமே வந்து ஒரு மாதிரி சைலண்ட் ஆயிடுறாங்களே, they feel small about themselves. I think the more empowered you feel when you have this perspective for yourself, it's not like you have a problem and you're working on yourself, you're just trying to get better and you're recognizing it. That is huge according to me.
I've been to therapy a few times, not multiple times, but a few times. And I have seen how much difference it has brought to the personality I am, to the person I am, to the mind I have, to the soul I have, and a lot of things. To someone who has not been in this space at all, who has not been to therapy, who does not know what therapy looks like, feels like, what happens, can you in short tell us what really is therapy and how does the process look?
So it is like asking a mother, how does it feel being a mother? Like you cannot articulate that. I think it's a very, very beautiful process. And it's very subjective people to people. So என்னோட எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸா அவங்களுக்கும் இருக்கும்னு சொல்ல முடியாது. I would say just blindly trust yourself. Make the right choice of the therapist that you choose. நீங்கள் வந்து ஒரு விஷயத்தை பேசுறதுக்காக you can start, but your journey can always like change over the course. Like I have changed 3 therapists in my life. It's not that they were bad, it's because over time when my conversation changed, எனக்கு அந்த பர்டிகுலர் இஷ்யூக்கு இன்னொருத்தவங்க கிட்ட போனால் பெட்டராக இருக்கும்ன்றது தோணும். And I'm not someone who's been consistent in therapy. I've been on and off. But I always have that as an option. It's not like I feel like I need it like every week, but when I feel like I need it, I definitely go for it. So just the core of having an understanding that it's a beautiful process and people should try it is something that I think everyone should realize. அது எப்படி ஒர்க் ஆகும், ஏன் ஒர்க் ஆகல, like I said, it's finding a soulmate. You don't have like one definition saying do these 5 things and then you'll find a partner, or this is the partner that you have to be, because our values would be very different. But having a judgment or a fear towards the concept of therapy itself, ஏன்னா என் சர்க்கிளுமே நிறைய பேர் சொல்லுவாங்க எனக்கு பிரச்சனை இருக்குன்னு அவங்க தான் பேசுவாங்க. Beyond a point I would tell them like, why don't you try talking? அந்த அளவுக்கு நான் இன்னும் மோசமா போல அப்படின்வாங்க. So I'll be like, what is that அந்த அளவுக்கு, like what, at which point you will realize that okay, I will go talk to them. So these are not people who are against the concept of therapy, but then they feel I'm not messed up so much for me to have someone's help. So I that's when I said like that doesn't make sense at all. Like when you know that is help for you, which is so accessible, and you know your own friend runs a company on it, why would you not take that as an option? Correct. So I mean that's the conversation, or that's the kind of awareness we want to keep spreading also, that it's normal, it's fine, you don't have to think too much about it, just give it a shot. If it works, it works.
நம்ம வந்து நிறைய அடல்ட்டிங் பற்றி பேசிட்டோம், அடல்ட் தெரப்பி பற்றி பேசிட்டோம், ஆனால் கிட்ஸ் தெரப்பி பற்றி நிறைய அவேர்னஸ் இல்லைன்னு எனக்கு ஃபீல் ஆகுது. ஸோ இஸ் தெரப்பி சேஃப் ஃபார் கிட்ஸ்? Because there are so many kids out there who go through trauma at a very young age. So என்ன மாதிரி தெரப்பி அவங்க எடுத்துக்கலாம்?
Kids, adults, எல்லாருக்குமே பார்த்தீங்கன்னா different modalities like talk therapy. You can use art as a form of therapy. You can use drama as a form of therapy. Movement based therapy. You can introduce them to all of that. But why do kids need therapy, especially at today's day and age? Is I think we are a generation of parents, or at least me. I have a 7-year-old daughter and I'm a single mother. So we are a generation of parents where we know that what are the things that we don't want to do for our kids. நம்ம வளர்ந்த விதத்தை பார்த்து or நம்ம கேள்விப்பட்ட விஷயங்களை பார்த்து we're very sure that we don't want our kids to have this experience. But we don't have a clarity on what is it that we want to give them. So it's a very gray zone. But we always have this fear that I don't want to screw up my child's life with what I have been through. I have to give the best for my child. So அந்த கன்ஃபியூஷன்லேயே நம்ம வந்து ஒவ்வொரு டெசிஷனுமே வந்து we keep questioning ourselves. We are very scared. Like என் பொண்ணோட இன்ட்ராக்ட் பண்ணுற கிட்ஸ் ஒரு பேரண்ட்ஸ் கிட்டே வந்துட்டு I find parents finding it very difficult to let a child fail or let a child go through any strong emotions, right? அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு disappointment கூட கொடுத்துடக்கூடாது, அவங்க அந்த ஃபெயிலியரே பார்த்துடக்கூடாது. How long can we do that? Which means as a parent, I need to work on myself to make sure my child experiences everything. And நாளைக்கு real life world போகும்போது they are anyways going to deal with all of that. So அந்த அவங்க எப்படி டீல் பண்ணணும், as a parent, what can I do to be better in the process? Therapy helps you. You can read it through books, you can read it through multiple places. But therapy ஏன் ஹெல்ப் ஆகும்னு நான் யோசிக்கிறேன்னா, it's a very one-to-one subjective, because what you advise for a 7-year-old cannot be the same case for my daughter, because her family dynamic is very different. She's being raised by a single mother, and how judgmental the world could be. And again, she's a girl. End of the day, all the differences are there, like being very practical. So that way, I feel therapy would help her. And when I went through my phase of becoming a single mother, one thing that I realized is, en ponnu 7 vayas agumode I have to put her on therapy. So she's turning next month, and my birthday gift to her would be putting her on therapy so that she feels she has a space apart from just home and my family to talk to, and someone who can hear her out. So at any point of time, I don't want her to feel that நான் என்ன யோசிக்கிறேன்னு யாருமே புரிஞ்சுக்கல, யாருமே வந்து எஃபர்ட் போடல, யாருமே கேட்டுக்கல அப்படின்னு. And also because I'm a working mom and I'm extremely busy and don't get to give her a lot of time, I don't want her to feel unheard. So I want to give her a space where she could just feel like being herself. So as a mother, my responsibility would be for her to feel safe in her therapy session and give her the right kind of therapist that she feels like. And I think that would be a very responsible thing to do. So நம்ம எப்படி வந்து நம்ம கிட்ஸுக்கு வந்து ஃபுட் சாய்ஸஸில் ரொம்ப பர்டிகுலராக இருப்போம். the kind of clothes they wear, the schools that they go to, the kind of friend circle that they have, அந்த மாதிரி தான் therapy should look as. It's just giving them a space for them to explore, for them to be themselves. Especially இப்போ இருக்கிற ஜென்ரேஷன்லாம் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, the day they are born, they're very smart. எல்லாமே earlier பண்ணுறாங்க. With the digital exposure that they have, you don't even have to send them to school. In YouTube path, they can actually learn about doing anything in their life. And there are so much overachievers in today's generation. Like today, you can see a 7-year-old getting into coding and building an AI company when they're 16 and then selling it at 20. என்னன்னு இன்னைக்கு வரைக்கும் நான் ஃபிகர் அவுட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், right? So they are in a generation which is highly competitive. They have too much of exposure of everything. So making them feel grounded, giving them a space to just like calm and live their life end of the day, I think therapy would be a beautiful gift that we could give our kids.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Now that we spoke about kids therapy, adult therapy, tell me one thing that you wish everyone in the country knows about mental health.
Everyone that it's not as scary as it looks or sounds, even for people who are pro mental health or for people who are against the concept of mental health. It is normal. It's just like இவ்வளோ யோசிக்கிற அளவுக்கு ஒரு இவ்வளோ நம்ம பண்ணுற அளவுக்கு ஒன்றுமே இல்லை. இட்ஸ் லைக் வெரி வெரி நார்மல். அண்ட் டு பி ஹோலிஸ்டிக்லி ஹெல்த்தி, திஸ் ஹேஸ் டு பி அட்ரெஸ்ட். நீங்கள் இதை ஸ்கிப் பண்ணி நீங்கள் என்ன பண்ணாலும் யூ கான்ட், லைக் ஃப்ரம் த ஃபுட் யூ ஈட், it has an impact on your mental health. From the friendships that you make, it has an impact on, from your sleep, from everything, like the exposure that you have in sun, the kind of work you do. எல்லாத்தையுமே அந்த மென்டல் ஹெல்த்ன்ற ஒரு விஷயத்துக்கு இம்பார்ட்டன்ஸ் கொடுக்கும்போது நம்ம லைஃப் பெட்டராக இருக்குன்னா, why would you not do it?
Fantastic.
So having this just an awareness, or before you jump into a conclusion that this is bad, this is weak, explore, learn more about it, understand why this is important. எங்கேருந்து ஸ்டார்ட் ஆச்சு? If you have questions like party generation இல்லை இப்பயும் பேசுறீங்கன்னா, get curious and ask about it. Talk to the right kind of people. Don't just make a judgment that அப்போ இல்லை இப்போ பண்ணுறீங்க, இது சும்மா ஒரு மெடிக்கல், it's a gimmick, or it's just like a money making thing that you guys are doing, a trend that you guys are following. But there are people actually getting help out of it. So it's not just a trend. It's not like சும்மா வந்து இது பண்ணுங்க அது பண்ணுங்கன்னு கிடையாது. This is actually saving lives. This is actually helping people. இன்னைக்கு வந்து to put a disclaimer and talking about suicide, when someone is ending their lives, நம்ம வந்து சோஷியல் மீடியாவில் வந்து ஒரு செலிபிரிட்டியோ இல்லை யாரோ அதை பற்றி நியூஸ் பார்த்தோன்னா, கீழே கமெண்ட்ஸில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா, ஐ விஷ் யூ குட் ஹவ் ஸ்போக்கன் டு சம்ஒன், ஆர் ஐ விஷ் யூ குட் ஹவ் கால்ட் மீ, அந்த மாதிரி போடுறாங்க. பட் it's not that that person wouldn't have called you. It's not like phone எடுத்தோன்னா I'm not going to tell you that, hey, I want to end my life today, see you, goodbye. There would have been multiple attempts. Maybe you were busy, maybe there were different things running in your life. So being kind is the basic thing that people are expecting. So on the mental health idellame thandi, I think kindness is gone away today. So generally for everyone around the world, everyone here, just be kind. It shouldn't be difficult. It shouldn't be something you have to practice every single day. I understand people want to set boundaries. I understand people want to like build a healthy life for them. Adu idellame okay. But then as humans, we need each other. We cannot isolate ourselves. We are not missions to just program ourselves and work in a certain way. Just be kind.
What a lovely way to end this conversation. Above all else, may there be kindness. Thank you so much, Pooja. It's been very, very inspiring knowing your journey and what you do at the Love Hope Company with Aita. Thank you so much. I'm definitely walking in another time.
You should. Most
because
welcome.
I love this space.
Yeah, you should, Max.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
More
thank
love,
you so
more
much.
power to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All good wishes to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
சேரா ஹோம் ஜங்ஷன், சுந்தராபுரம், கோயம்புத்தூர்.
சேர்ந்து வாங்க, சேராவுக்கு வாங்க.
தமிழகம் எங்கும் கிளைகள் கொண்ட அண்ணமால் இன்ஸ்டிடியூட் ஆஃப் ஹோட்டல் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் அண்ட் ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் படிப்பில் சேர்வதற்கான அட்மிஷன் நடைபெறுகிறது.